evening. This is the meeting of February 23rd, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the applicable portions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been given. This meeting is posted on the bulletin board located in the corridor of this building and published in the newspapers on January 13th, 2021. Councilman Signorelli will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could everyone take a moment?
Go ahead, Mike. Today is 76 years from when they raised the flag at Iwo Jima. These guys spent weeks on the beaches just trying to get in. Mike, if you just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, it's, I know, I thought you were Army.
Easy, buddy.
I'd like to take a minute of silence for those guys who are currently serving, who have served, and for those who made the ultimate sacrifice and didn't return. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione.
Here.
Councilwoman Gingrich.
Present.
Councilman Burns.
Present.
Councilman Signorelli.
Present.
Councilman Buccio.
Here.
Councilman Gross.
He's trying to dial in.
I just sent him the information, yes.
Okay.
We need to do-
Council President Guadagno.
Here.
And Mayor, you're on the line?
I am, thank you.
Okay.
Discussion by administration. Did somebody else just ring in?
No, he hit the bell.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you. Item 4A, I believe the mayor was going to speak to.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Administrator, Council President, members of the council. Item A is accept the property donation from Ocean Inc. Incorporated. Under the previous administration, a bunch of lots in the Commonwealth section of Berkeley Township were donated for Ocean Inc. to build affordable housing. Since then, they have built a few houses in the Commonwealth section, but they have these other lots that they want to donate back to the township because of various issues, whether it be location of the lot or issues with sanitary sewer or DEP. So there's a bunch of issues. So they want to donate the lots back to the township, and so we could absolutely take them back. And item is on the official number 6.
Item 4B is authorization to advertise and to receive bids for 3 different things. First one being for a new front-end loader, and that is on the official agenda, number 12.1. Second one is for a refuge collection system, automated, semi-automated containers, 750 99-gallon minimum. That is on the official agenda, number 12.2. And the third line item is for an inflatable outdoor movie screen system. That is on the line item 12.3. All of these are part of the 2021 capital ordinance.
Thanks, Fred.
Mr. President, if I may interject.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just as Fred had mentioned, we're going out to bid for an inflatable outdoor movie screen system. As you know, last year due to COVID-19, there was very limited activities that you were allowed to do outdoors. So we contracted with the company, and we did, I believe we did 4 drive-in movies, and they were just a huge success. So our recreation department costed that. It's more cost effective that we purchased the system for ourselves. And then obviously we're going to continue to do outdoor, we're going to continue to do drive-in movies at the outdoor restrictions. Hopefully now that the COVID vaccine, people are slowly getting vaccinated, that hopefully during the early spring and maybe during the summer, outdoor gathering numbers will be relaxed. And we plan on doing, in addition to drive-in movies, we plan on doing just regular movie nights at the Veterans Park. We want to do movie on the beach, we do a movie night out in South Shore. So it just worked out really, really well, and it's very cost effective for us to own it. And it's just going to be an excellent opportunity to expand our recreational services during the summer. So I appreciate the council funding it in the capital ordinance, and this is just authorizing to go out to bid, and it's just our efforts to make our recreation department even better each and every year. So that's what this is, and we look forward to seeing everybody this year. We do our first one, whether it's a drive-in or just an outdoor movie night. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
If I can interrupt, it's Councilman Gross. I had a hard time getting in, but I'm here if you guys can hear me.
Loud and clear, and the clerk has you marked.
I do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
So, moving on to letter C, it's offering the sale of property. It's block 1403, lots 1 through 20, and it's on Balsam Drive. This is the situation where we can offer a non-conforming lot to the adjacent property owner for the assessed value. In this case, it's $17,100, and it's on the official agenda as item number 12.4. Letter D is authorizing our annual agreement with Midway Beach Association. It's a homeowners association over in South Seaside Park, and the basics of the agreement are that we do beach cleaning for them because we have a beach rake that we keep over there for our beach, and theirs is adjacent to ours. And in return, they do their own street lighting and road repairs. That agreement for this year is on the official agenda as item number 12.5. Letter E goes to the mayor.
Thank you. Item E is pays to plug in grant. We had applied for through our grant writer, and we received an $8,000 grant. And what this grant is enabling us to do is put in a vehicle charging station at our town hall, and we received $8,000 towards that. As you know, there's a lot of incentives out there for green vehicles, and we were pleased that we got this grant. So once we get everything squared away, we will be installing, it is 2, correct, Sean?
It's one charging station with 2 cords on it. So you can charge 2 cars at once from this one station.
Correct.
Through the chair, how is that paid? Through a credit card?
Hopefully installed in the spring, but the grants get paid for most of the installation. So this is good, and we do have a electric car, and we're looking towards maybe purchasing a few more in the future. So not only will this be available for use for township vehicles, but as part of the grant, it is also available for anybody who needs a quick charge on their way around. So that'll be available to the public as well. And that's on the official item 12.6. Next item F.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but while you were speaking, I think Councilman Burns had a question.
Yeah, if a resident plugged in, how is that paid? Through a credit card or through Tesla, or how's that
At this
work?
point, initially, we were not going to set it up to charge anything to the resident. The initial cost is being covered between the township and the grant, and until we see how much demand there is for the use, administration thought that it would be nice service to offer out there for somebody who's stuck without any charge at this point.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Item F is waiving fees for the Veterans Park stage. Previously, there was no charge for use of the summer of our concert stage at Veterans Park, but over the years, there have been a lot of requests from different organizations to utilize our stage area, and we do charge nominal fees for other other nominal permit fees for other areas of our recreation, whether it be the pavilion or for lights on ball fields or whatever. So, as you all know, the council put in a fee structure for the stage use. This is for waiving of the fees for use for a local gym who every year does what they call a max day of giving, where all the employees of the gym donate their time, and they do 3 or 4 classes all day long. And every dollar, 100% of the money that's raised on that max day of giving gets donated to a local nonprofit organization. So they haven't chosen the nonprofit organization, but in years past, they've given money to the Elks and other worthwhile organizations in town. So this is a wonderful thing. And since it's a fundraiser for a nonprofit organization in town, to be determined that they're donating all of their time and effort for the event. So we thought it'd be appropriate to maximize the donation to the nonprofit that we waive the fee structure for the stage. So that's on the official item 12.7.
Thank you, Mayor. Item G is the introduction of a salary ordinance. As you know, we periodically do ordinances to match either contracts or anything else. These are just ranges. It does not set a salary for any particular employee. And in fact, in this case, they're all just ranges of hourly rates to pay to seasonal employees, because these had to be adjusted due to the fact that the minimum wage is going up and will go up annually under both state and possibly federal regulations. So this just sets the ranges, and it's an introduction, which is on the official agenda as item number 8. Letter H is actually 2 resolutions, each of which cancels the property taxes for a 100% disabled veteran. The first one is on block 1244, lot 1.04Q and C.63. That one's on the official agenda as item 12.8. The other property is block 4.288, lot 44, and that's on the official agenda as item 12.9. Item I, I'll hand off to the mayor again.
Thank you. Item I is our annual appointment tosses for our volunteer squad. We have First Unstable Fire Company, which is the corners of Western and Bedford Boulevard, for May 22nd and 23rd, with the rain date of May 29th and 30th, and August 28th and 29th, with the rain date of September 4th and September 5th. And then Madison Park Fire Company from Buell and Davenport Road, which is March 28th, 2021, with a rain date of April 11th, 2021, and September 26th, 2021, with a rain date October 3rd, 2021. And I believe that's on the official 12.10 and 12.11.
Correct. And moving on to item J, that's authorizing a construction refund for flood review fee. It's for block 1559, lot 14. And in that situation, the person had inadvertently paid a higher fee than was required. So there's a partial that would be required and is being kept. And this authorizes the refund of $150 of that $250 fee. And that's on the official agenda as item number 12.12. Letter K, I believe our chief will speak to.
Letter K is amending chapter 7, which is entitled traffic. The first one is adding a stop sign at Georgetown Drive and Lala Menton Drive. It's on the official agenda, item number 9. Second is no left turn, and that's on the official agenda, item 11A.
Thank you, Chief. And I believe the mayor was going to speak to item L.
Yeah, so item L is a reauthorization of an expired lease for our old town hall, which is currently occupied by the Berkeley Township Historical Society. We have previously said how it has expired, and it's the desire of the society to enter into another lease agreement for the township. The 10-year lease with a 10-year option after, so that should do them good for hopefully the next 20 years. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the Historical Society for the effort that they have put forth in rejuvenating their membership. The Historical Society President Jerry Morey is doing a phenomenal job, and his wife Josephine Morey, in getting people to join the club, become active within the society. And, Berkeley Township is full of history. For those council members who haven't had an opportunity to tour the Historical Society building, I think we should do a council tour in the near future. Thanks to the governing body, thank you, council members, for putting some funds aside in our previous capital budget that we've been able to invest some money in repairing the Historical Society building. Obviously, it's a landmark here in town. It was originally our town hall, and then when the recreation center was built, that became our new town hall. And then the Historical Society building that is currently now an old town hall then became the police station. And then with the growth of Berkeley Township, West Parkway, forefathers in the 70s built a new town hall and a new law enforcement center, which are currently in the locations that they are now, and you're currently in the newer town hall building, which was built in, I believe, 1978. So this is just continuing our great working relationship with the Historical Society, and that's on the official item 10 as an ordinance introduction. Thank you.
Letter M is prohibiting egress on the Route 9 South. Basically, two locations due to the NJDOT recommendations and approved by our traffic unit just for right-hand turn only, and that's on the official agenda item 12.25.
Item N is in-rem foreclosures. We have another listing of 40 other properties which we want to foreclose in rem. These are older municipal liens totaling $263,613.19 of property taxes that have been due and not paid. So we'll look at the foreclose on those properties and get them back on the tax rolls. That is on the official agenda, number 12.21.
Letter O is a memorandum of understanding with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office and their SWAT team. The SWAT team is a regional SWAT team made up of officers throughout Ocean County. We currently have one member on it, and the second member, hopefully to be added soon, who's currently training with them, and that is on the official agenda item 12.20.
And I believe the mayor was going to speak to letter P.
Yes, thank you. Letter P is supporting the Ocean County Natural Lands Trust Fund on two property acquisitions within the Township of Berkeley. As you'll know, last year we adopted an extensive list of recommended properties that we would like to see the County Natural Lands Trust Fund pursue, so we can preserve open space and curb or limit future growth within the community. And these are two properties, one property that we identified and another property which is contiguous to current land and has already been preserved by the Ocean County Natural Lands Trust Fund. So item 1, the Bayview Avenue property is 1.32 acres. That is the old Becker's Marina. It's located on Bayview Avenue. It's close to the water's edge. It's as you're driving to the water's edge, from here to the water's edge. There's an old boatyard on the right-hand side just before you get to the water's edge. That's a really nice piece of property, and we applaud the Natural Lands Trust Fund for getting a contact or contract in principle to purchase that property, so we want to support that. And then the other is a half an acre on Harboring Road, but this lot is contiguous to already owned and preserved land that they have preserved before. So the administration's recommendation to support both of those land acquisitions. And they are on the official 12.22 and 12.23.
Item Q is an emergency temporary appropriation. This tweaks the temporary budget a little bit. We still are under the 26.25%, which is allowed, even though we can exceed that at this point. But another main reason is we got a number of grants that we had learned of this month, so we want to be able to utilize those grants, plus the temporary budget. And that is on the official agenda, number 12.26. And item 4R is appointing the tax appeal agent. This appoints the tax assessor and the tax appeal attorney, which authorizes them to execute stipulations of settlement on any tax appeals. This is an annual resolution that we normally do. That is on the official agenda, number 12.24.
Number 5, comments from the mayor and the council. Mayor Amato, do you have any comments?
I do, but I want to defer my comment, if you will, Mr. Council President, let Councilman Vacchione go first, and then I'm going to dovetail some of my comments after his discussion.
Okay, Mayor. Councilman Vacchione?
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been attending the what used to be called freeholder meetings, now called commissioner meetings, up in Ocean County, and Commissioner Little, who is the liaison to the health department here in Ocean County, has been talking in detail about the COVID vaccinations for the last, I'd say, 2 months. And I just wanted to report what's been going on in the county with my colleagues here on the dais. It seems like the consensus is that the shots have been distributed in a formidable manner where no one seems to be complaining about going to get the shots. I think the county's doing a good job from the consensus of what I'm hearing in issuing the shots of the supplies that they do have, and that's the key. They don't have the supplies that they feel they should have in Ocean County to take care of all the needs of the residents. And I don't think it's the problem of the state. I think it comes from the federal government. I think we have to reach out to the federal government and demand that they issue more of the vaccine to our citizens here in Ocean County. And I'm going to ask my colleagues here for a motion to ask the federal government, the President, Congress, to get on the stick and start sending more of the vaccinations to us here in Ocean County. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Councilman Vacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes.
Thank you. I've heard a lot of remarks from citizens at the commissioners' meeting, just praising the way that the county's been handling the vaccines and how they've been distributing it. I know there's probably people who are wanted to say that they've tried to make appointments online and not able to do so. I think it's because the lack of the quantity of the vaccination and the people who do want to get it. So I ask everyone just to be patient. If our motion works and the federal government listens to what we're saying here in Ocean County, we could possibly be getting a larger supply of the vaccination for the COVID. On another note, I know Ocean County recently had equipment on Bayview Avenue, just south of Magnolia, surveying the roadway for possible changes to what seems to be flooding. And whatever recommendations they make, I'm sure they'll take action to try to improve the flooding on that Bayview Avenue. It's a evacuation route, and if we're going to, God forbid, evacuate people, we want to be able to have people to be able to get through. So it's important. I know there's some people here tonight who want to talk about flooding in other areas. So when the public gets a chance to talk, I'm sure we'll hear about other flooding issues. But that's all I have to say, Mr. President. Thank you for my time.
Thank you, Councilman Bacchione. Councilwoman Gingrich?
Good evening, everyone. With regard to the vaccines, I personally have taken a few people over to Toms River North High School to get their vaccinations. It's very well run. We were in and out within an hour. There seems to be enough vaccine that they have at this point. They're waiting for more to come in, but I was assured that we would have all that we need. So it went very well, and if anyone out there needs a ride to get their vaccine, you can call me. I will take you, because I know how frightening it can be for some people. My second thing is on Friday, the 26th, we run the food bank, 9:30 to 11 at 631 Jamaica Boulevard. Please come, and if you have anyone that needs help or needs food, we will provide that for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gingrich. Mayor, would you like to jump back in real quick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Council President. I just want to commend Councilman John Bacchione for his leadership in spearheading a council resolution to the President and Congress about the lack of COVID-19 vaccine to the state of New Jersey and to Ocean County. As I mentioned at our last meeting, that Ocean County was getting 5,000 vaccinations a week. That has been cut down to about 3,000. And 3,000 a week, which is, unacceptable. I don't blame the state. I don't blame the county. I blame the federal government. They need to get the vaccine to the at-risk population immediately. It's unconscionable how long it's been taking to get the vaccine into our state, into our county. We have nearly 18,000 at-risk seniors that are 60 and over here in Berkeley Township that qualify to get the vaccination immediately, and the lack of vaccine is causing concern in our senior community. I know I could speak or mention on behalf of Councilman Signorelli and Councilwoman Gingrich, who have probably fielded as many calls as I have. From concerned seniors. My office has been contacted by World War II veterans who are in their 90s that are having difficulty getting appointments, whether it's through the online system or the new call center. It's just very frustrating. Our seniors have been doing a great job and doing what they can to live their lives to somewhat normal day to day since the pandemic hit almost a year ago when we started to shut down things, and they've been more than patient. A lot of our seniors are from the greatest generation, like I mentioned. A lot of them are veterans. It's unconscionable what the federal government's doing. They need to get the vaccine to the state immediately so it can be distributed to the county. As I mentioned, we have a large at-risk population here in our community and also in Ocean County. And, as the council did at the last meeting when they approved a resolution, our clubhouses, some of our clubhouses are ready, willing, and able to open on a moment's notice to be a vaccination center for residents in Berkeley Township. We just got to get some more of the vaccine, and it's got to get done quickly because our seniors are very concerned and they want to get back to some sort of type of normalcy. Just speaking about the numbers, since March of 2020, close to 3,300 of our residents have contracted the COVID-19 virus. We're about 43,000 residents, so roughly about 3,300 of them have contracted the virus since March of 2020 and that's an 8% of our township population. Unfortunately, we have lost 215 of our residents due to COVID-19 from a percentage that's 1/2 of 1%. But just one person passing away from COVID-19 is too many. Recently, members of our governing body have contracted and thankfully are on the road to recover or have recovered from COVID-19. There's not a day that goes by that I don't hear from a friend, a neighbor, a coworker in the county, or one of our employees within the township that's contracted COVID. So, obviously, our survival rate is very, very good, but it's getting to a point now where, our residents want to get back to some type of normalcy, and they're not able to do that until we get the vaccine. As of today, the information I received from the state of New Jersey is Ocean County now. I don't have a breakdown of township residents of this amount, so this is just Ocean County in general. 103,866 vaccinations have been given in Ocean County. Of that 103,000, 73,000 are first dose, and then 30,000 of those are the second dose. I have attempted to reach out to the pharmacies. CVS is, from what I understand, getting allotments to give vaccinations. We have a CVS, I believe, Councilwoman Gingrich, right off of Vandermeer in Toms River. We're going to make a request to CVS, and I would ask council consideration for a resolution to CVS corporate, asking them to consider that if they do get additional COVID-19 vaccine, that they utilize the CVS off of Vandermeer in Toms River for easy access to our residents. And, as I said, if there's anyone listening from the public, we appreciate all of our residents who are doing their due diligence to flatten the curve, wear their masks, wear gloves, wash their hands frequently, because our numbers, only 8% of our entire population has contracted COVID-19, and that's almost a year. So I think our numbers are really, really good, and that's because of our residents doing their due diligence, wearing their masks when they go out, when they need to. Still, number one, stay home. Number two, if they need to go out, to wear their mask, wear their gloves, wash their hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds. But we're at a point now where, we need the federal government to step up and start getting the vaccine to the state, so the state can distribute it to the counties and such. So I appreciate Councilman John Bacchio's leadership in spearheading the resolution. I want to thank the members of the council for supporting the resolution. And just indulging you in one more, if you would approve a resolution to CVS that if and when they do get additional vaccines, that they consider using the CVS on Vandermeer Drive in Toms River as a future vaccination site.
Mayor, I'd like to, Council President, I'd like to move that they make that motion, that we contact CVS and have them use the site on Vandermeer.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes.
And just real quick, I just want to make it crystal clear. Well, first of all, thank you, members of the council, for supporting those two resolutions. And, I do agree with Councilman Bacchione that, Ocean County is doing a tremendous job. People that I talked to that were able to register, that have gotten the vaccine, have been in and out of the vaccination centers. It's very smooth, it's very easy going. And, thanks to the leadership of Commissioner Little, the Board of Commissioners, and of course, the leadership of the Ocean County Board of Health. And, we just look forward to getting some more vaccines so we can get our residents, all residents, but most importantly, to get, it's very important that we get all of our residents vaccinated, but the at-risk population is what, needs to be done. All of our first responders, thankfully, under the leadership of Sheriff Masciardi, was able to get all of our first responders in who wanted the shot. It was optional. It was not mandatory. It was optional. That all of our first responders who opted to get the vaccinations have gotten them so far. And so that's great. So, we obviously want to protect our first responders and then, obviously those at our at-risk population, which is the majority of the senior community, to get them vaccinated as quickly as possible and then get everybody else vaccinated as quickly as possible. So thank you, Mr. President, for your indulgence. Thank you, members of the council, for your support of the resolution. And thank you, Councilman Bacchione, for your leadership in COVID-19 vaccination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Burns?
First of all, I want to thank Councilman Bacchione on Bayview. I know they've been out there surveying for drainage. This week I happened to run off of Bayview myself into the mud there. But, it is an evacuation route. And for the last month or so, I've been talking to Kenny Anderson from the fire department and Captain Doan. And actually, I mentioned it to the chief tonight to get a larger type ambulance. Something I know I talked to the mayor, and we do have an all-wheel drive ambulance, but sometimes the water by CNC or some of the other areas they're impassable with the ambulance. So, we've been looking around, and I'll pass the information on to Councilman Gross. I know that that's his area, and I did find some used vehicles, and maybe there's some grants available through FEMA. I know the engineer said that we would have to do a history on Bayview to get a FEMA grant through the police department and the engineers. But anybody who drives down by the water's edge or down by the other end, it's just up and down and full of water. I know the mayor and the administrator met with Ocean Inc. They do a lot around the town and the schoolhouses. They do a lot for veterans. I didn't even know, but they opened up some veteran apartments on Washington Street and Toms River. But they did build some rental homes in the Pine Wall section. And we've been discussing that they sell these to the people that are living there. I remember they used to have the farmer's home loan for like a 0% interest or something. So these people would become first-time homeowners, and they'd have a little skin in the game. Instead of a renter, they would be homeowners, and they would be able to add a deck, garage, or, live the normal life. So I have a meeting there Thursday afternoon with the director, and I still can't pronounce his name, but I'll learn it by Thursday. But there are monies available, and there's some county grant money available for first-time homeowners, so he's going to look into that. The last 2-3 weeks have been hell with the fire companies and the first aids out on calls. The first aid has just been doing call after call after call. They can't even run up to Jersey Shore because they don't want to take the ambulance that far. But they've had a lot of calls. Just since the last meeting, we've lost 3 veterans just in my neighborhood from the COVID. So, it's a serious thing, and our guys are doing a great job. There was a fire the other day, and there were 4 trucks there and 20 firemen within 2-3 minutes. Other towns, they can't fill their departments. Ours are all up to par, and we have great emergency services. Route 9, the paving on Route 9, I don't know why they put salt on it, because you only skid from one pothole to the next, so it's not a real problem. I took my Jeep to the mechanic, and he wouldn't even work on the shocks because they were so rusted and busted up. But what I'd like to do is Councilman Bacchione and maybe the administrator, we could meet with Pine Beach. And as they start, either if they start from Lacey or from Pine Beach, we clean up Route 9. You know, we'll have new paving, make sure all the signages are right. You know, how many vape flies, you know, signs do we need flying around flags at Route 9? So, you know, we could limit it to one reasonable sign per business and just clean Route 9 up. You know, make sure the entrances, and I know we've been looking at ShopRite to add to that traffic light at Frederick, but, you know, if we meet with Pine Beach, they actually have the north side of Route 9 up to Kennedy. So, you know, we can really get on that and try to get a schedule from the DOT, you know, something that's close to, you know, because I know they're going to be right there, like right after Memorial Day weekend, and you're going to be detoured all through Sylvan Lakes and a roundabout all night long. But, you know, I think it's a time we clean up Route 9 and really make it look great. The Bayview. The VA has come up with a new program, and actually, this is the card. So I tried to make it smaller. So if you've been treated at the VA in the last 24 months, you can go online. I have plenty here, and I'll send out more if you need it. And you'll go here, any of these states, and you'll put in location by me, and it'll show the MD over at by the Walmart, the Meridian Urgent Cares, and you can go into those urgent cares, and here's your directions, free of charge. And then this side here is for your pharmacy. And all our pharmacies in Berkeley are on this system. So you go in there and you get your free scripts. You know, I don't think you're going to get, you know, the newest scripts out, but, you know, you're going to get whatever it is. And, you know, this is going to replace you from either spending money to go to the doctor or going up to East Orange. But it's kind of complicated to get to this point, but this is all you need. So I have, you know, a few here, and you can hand them out. And I know Mike and Sophia took some for the seniors, but, you know, I've been dealing with the VA for the last 40 years, and this has been a secret. You know, nobody's really known about it, and then I finally got into it. But, you know, I think it's a great thing for the veterans. You know, you can go right into your urgent cares, you get treated, and that's it. And back to the first aid and the police. I'm the commissioner for the joint insurance, and they've had grants for personal appliances for carbon monoxide for the police and fire and first aid. When these guys enter a house and they see somebody laying there, they don't know whether it's a diabetic or stroke or whatever it is. So they have these inexpensive personal detectors that, you know, there should be one in each police car, I'd imagine, but I noticed the fire company, they pass them around. You know, you shouldn't have to pass around a life safety thing, especially, and, you know, maybe later on we could see if you could purchase these, you know, through the town or something like we did the rings. So I talked to the mayor, and, you know, the mayor is life safety, you know, he always has the money. So I think we should buy some to get us started and then apply for grants to outfit every EMS worker in the town. All right, they're like $75 a piece, and they're good for 2 years. All right, so, you know, I think it's a very important item that we should buy some to get going.
You want me to make a motion?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to complete this program so that we can purchase these.
How many you want to purchase, 50?
We could start with 50, yes.
50 get you started, chief?
You need more than that?
That's more than you have now, right?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yeah.
Councilman Gross? Council President Sedano.
Yes.
One other thing, the Main Street project is, it's got to go back to DEP for a few items. That road was raised, and the town, I think the grant was 50/50 grant, right, Fred? So our part of the grant so far was bringing the road in and elevating the road. But when the project's complete, that road will be tapered all the way back, because right now you can see that there was a catch basin here, but this is to drain into the stone and then go out to the bay. So, you know, the raised portion is actually stopping the water, but, you know, that'll be taken care of. And it's also, I think we got permission to dump the spoils from the dredging projects onto that land. Alan was talking to me today about it. All right? And that's all I have. I just want to thank the council for, you know, supporting our EMS and our police in town. Oh, there's one other thing. I don't know how I forgot it. The legalized pot, that's how I forgot it. Okay, from what I'm reading, and I know I talked to the chief today, he may want to add to it, but our Special 2 officers aren't covered by liability. And the liability of this new marijuana thing is insane. You know, back in the 60s, you know, you had some homegrown weed out in the yard. But, you know, how are these police supposed to know if this stuff is fentanyl laced or whatever? And I'm sure the chief, but if there's any schools or training, you know, I want to make sure that our police are out there. But like I said, our Special 2s, they're not insured or protected through the union. So if there's a way we can get a rider or something, because these guys are over at the beach area, and, you know, they'll walk into an underage party. From what I understand, the chief will tell you, if they're underage, you can't even tell their parents. But when something happens down the road, the damn parents are going to be suing the police. And you have a Special 2 out there at about $12 an hour that's got to put his ass on the line. So, you know, we got to protect these guys. They protect us. We need to get them out. Chief, if you want to add to something there, or Fred?
I understand that we're still waiting for, we just got guidance today, it happened so fast yesterday that we got guidance sent from the prosecutor, from the attorney general to the prosecutor's office. We have a phone call tomorrow from the state just to clarify, because there's a lot of questions. There's just a lot of stuff that wasn't really covered. So we'll know more as we go on, but every department's asking all the same questions, and all guys are kind of worried about the implications that could have if they take the wrong action, trying to enforce something that was enforceable for so long. So we'll know more even tomorrow. But
And John, could you look at if there is a rider on the insurance that we can protect these Special 2s that are hanging out there?
Definitely, and I feel relatively confident that all of our employees, while they may not have the same coverage through the union, like you mentioned, that any employees of ours have some degree of coverage already.
Acting in your official capacity,
Thank you.
Councilman Burns, thank you very much. Councilman Signorelli?
I don't have anything at this time, other than the fact that we want to get the COVID vaccine going. And I have to agree with what Jim said about the police and this new marijuana law. I just got a thing down from my PDA, and they're telling the guys not to do anything until they get further training. So we got to be real careful with that.
All right. You good? Okay. Thank you. Councilman Bushio?
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Gross?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to speak to the marijuana bill as well, from a law enforcement standpoint, and I do appreciate Jim brought it up. We saw this coming, but not to this extent, and I know the state PBA is obviously up in arms. I have some literature correspondence from them. But police officers can now be charged with a third-degree civil rights, deprivation of civil rights violation on this, something that someone like me for the last 26 years, a little bit over now, has been able to enforce and enact. All of a sudden, guys like me can't. So, and then if you do, you're doing your job. We don't get paid extra. It's not like there's bonuses. You know, if you're enforcing the law, making arrests, it's because guys are being proactive and want to do a good job. And now you're saying not only are your hands further tied, but that you could have a third-degree charge signed against you, which is huge. And Jim brought up a really good point with the specials. And for those of you who don't know, they're the temporary / seasonal officers who aren't afforded the same protections as the regular police officers. And it's just, it's egregious. It's extremely liberal. And it's egregious. So I don't think it's fair or right. Once again, we saw the marijuana coming, but for police officers not to be able to enforce anything with the presence of marijuana, even to dig in and look with an articulable suspicion, is pretty bad. And we all know that lawyers are ready to pound on things, especially police officers. So here you got a guy, maybe a new guy, trying to do his job, be a little proactive, and then he gets a letter cease and desist and being sued and so forth, a few days later. So I'm glad to hear the deputy chief saying that we are looking into it. I did speak with our attorney, Ms. Stager, before about it, and she advised me that, which I kind of knew, a little too little, too late, for a resolution. Not really too much we could do now. The state has passed it. So I just wanted to give you guys, my displeasure on that, express my displeasure. And Jim, thank you for bringing that up. And everyone stay safe. I'm hoping to be back in a meeting fairly soon. Still overcoming COVID here. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Councilman Gross. Mayor, anything to add to all this? Mayor Amato?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. No, I agree with Councilman Burns, Councilman Signorelli mentioned it as well, and of course, Councilman Gross as well. And his passionate plea is true. We're handcuffing our own police officers with this, and it's just, I understand, the ramifications, but it's just, we all stand by law enforcement because they do a great job for us day in and day out, and we have to support them, and this is just, unfortunately, further handcuffing them, and, although I know Councilman Gross mentioned that he consulted with our township attorney, that may be too little, too late for a resolution opposing the legislation. But maybe we can draft a resolution asking Senate President, the Assembly Speaker, and the Governor to reconsider some of the provisions within this law as outlined in what the Councilman Gross' statement just a few minutes ago. So maybe do something like that towards a resolution, not for adoption obviously tonight, but I would like Councilman Signorelli, who's retired law enforcement, of course, Councilman Gross, who's current law enforcement, and of course, Councilman Burns, who is military, to maybe get together with Lauren to formulate some language on a subsequent resolution asking the Governor, the Senate President, and the Assembly Speaker to reconsider some of the provisions within this law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Number 6, discussion by Township Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. 6A is the release of a performance guarantee for the Guadalajara Drive reconstruction project. The release is subject to the posting of a 2-year maintenance bond, and that's on the official agenda as item 12.13. 6B is the release of a performance guarantee for the Keach Drive and McKinley Avenue reconstruction project, subject to the posting of a 2-year maintenance bond, and that's on the official agenda as item 12.14. C is the release of a performance guarantee for the Northeast Passage Corporation, which is the 7-Eleven convenience store opposite the high school. That is subject to the posting of a 2-year maintenance guarantee as well, and is on the official agenda as item 12.15. 6D is amending Chapter 35 Stormwater Control. That's on the official agenda as item 11. It's the introduction of an ordinance. 6E is the request for authorization to advertise and receive bids for the 2021 Mill and Overlay Project, the Phase 1, which is on the official agenda as item 12.16. The 2021 NJDOT Butler Boulevard Roadway Reconstruction Project, which is on the official agenda as item 12.17. The 23rd Avenue Outfall Decking Project, which is on the official agenda as item 12.18. And the Morris Boulevard Roadway Improvement Project, which is on the official agenda as item 1219. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 7, before we open the meeting for public comments, because of the COVID restrictions, we ask that you remain at the podium. Any photos can be passed out to the council by the CFO or the engineer. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And please, when you come up, state your name and your address. The meeting is now open for public comments. I'm going to the sign-in sheet. We have Tom Deutsch. I'm close.
Through the chair.
With the
for
first sound, I guess, the first part.
Through the chair.
Yes, Councilman Burns.
For the engineer, question. On the Butler Boulevard, Councilman Bacchiano and I met with the county, John Ernst, and that intersection of Bayview and Butler is a problem now, but when you pave Butler, it's going to become a drag strip. And we talked about that becoming either a four-way stop or reversing the stop signs. So when we kind of run that through, we could look at that.
Certainly.
Okay, and I know some people are probably here tonight on the flooding. Now that the weather's a little warmer, you know, I know you've been out there the last couple of days. You know, maybe some of them want to meet out there, but, you know, we do have some photos, and I'm interested, you know, to hear the comments, but maybe we could meet them, you know, in person all out there at one time. All right? Thank you. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Councilman Burns.
First one is easy. I'd just like to have some street signs.
Sir, can we just have your name and address, please?
Tom Deutsch, 5 Oceanport Avenue, Bayville.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, you can go.
The street signs, other than the ones that are on Narragansett, are non-existent. If you look at a street called Avalon, all you see is the O. You know, people keep asking me, where's this, where's that?
Can you bring the mic up a little bit?
People keep asking me if I'm walking my dog, where's this street, where's that street? Because you can't read the signs, right? That's the easy one. My biggest complaint is the Airbnb. Behind my house has been a horror show. I'm sure the chief could tell you about it. I've had everything you could possibly think of. I've had,
Do you have the address of that?
what would it be? I'm 5, it's probably 5 or 7, it's right behind me on Avalon. 12. 12 Avalon. Okay.
Just the O.
Well, I've had 10 and 12, the two of them. I've had, you know, beer bottles thrown on my property, have beer cans thrown on my property, have limes, had music so loud. Wear hearing aids, and I could hear it all my doors closed. You know, now that marijuana is approved, I mean, I have that all the time. You know, who come into the house. I've had women come in, strip all their clothes off in the middle of the day, dive in the pool naked. I've had men urinating in public. You know, it's just been an absolute horror show. And the place is not being taken care of. There's siding, facing coming off the front of the house. You know, there's actually probably against code. There's the swimming pool gate is broken, not locked. You know, right now there's no residents there. And it's just horrible. I mean, I can't, you know, look at all this. How would you like to bring your grandchildren out in your yard? Or even your family to go through this every year? It's not going on now because there's nobody there. But I want to know what the town's plan are to eliminate this. I mean, I'm paying over $8,000 of taxes. I can't go out in my friggin' yard.
Through the chair, Council President?
Yes, Councilman.
We do have a animal house ordinance. So if the police are called, and I think the chief can correct me, 3 times, they lose their rental rights. And I think the administrator will get code out there tomorrow because there are violations with siding or whatever, but there is that animal house
Animal
rule.
house means what, for drunken parties?
Yes. 3 times they get called.
You have you can issue a summons to these guys and that.
I don't know off the top of my head, but we were reporting it daily whether or not there was a current on our,
I know the mayor was there
I mean, that.
with the police last year issuing summonses. I want to know what it's going to take to close this place down. I mean, it goes on year after year after year.
Maybe the attorney can tell us
They've
what it
had
takes
20,
to-
30 people staying in his house.
Well, it's not through my office, it's through one of the other attorneys. It's not as simple as just 3 times and then that's it. There's hearings and so forth. There's a whole process that has to be followed. Honestly, if I tried to tell you the process right now, I'd probably miss a step. But there are measures in place to try to make sure that you can, you know,
Well,
live
this is
in
LLC, I know that, it's an offshore thing, but they're getting rid of murder. I mean, My neighbors are moving, but the house is up in the market because of this.
Can we limit it to 30-day rental?
Through the chair, if it's okay, the discussions on the overall regulations are constantly ongoing. I can tell you that specifically that property address, because there were so many complaints and concerns last year, code enforcement issued violation notices, they issued summonses. The good news is that regardless of us better enforcing and/or tweaking any of our rules regarding short-term rentals, that particular property, due to code enforcement's pressure, the property manager for that property, like you said, it's an LLC, apparently they own several properties, and the good news for the neighborhood, it's not guaranteed, but our understanding is that they are not going to do short-term rentals anymore, and in fact, are coming in for a CO for a year-round permanent tenant. So, long story short, I don't think it's the right forum to discuss all night what we might or might not change in the ordinance, but we do have enforcement procedures in place. We are aware of that property, and anytime we're aware, we send code enforcement out. And like they said, even though it took a lot of complaints and a lot of visits last season, it seems to have had some effect on this property. And regardless of whether or not they stick with that, whatever rentals they do, we're hyper aware and we'll be on top of it. So.
And the other problem is the property right next to it. I don't even know if it's a legal two-family or not, but we call it the parking lot. There's been 5 cars parked out there for 2 years. I don't mean you're running them. One of them may run. They're all covered up, they're all dilapidated, they're all broken, back windows missing, front bumpers laying down the ground. I don't even know if they have registration or license plates.
On that one, I don't know if code enforcement has been involved. They certainly could be with too many vehicles and unregistered vehicles. Do you know if that's 10 or 14 or?
There is in that small place 4 or 5 cars.
Right, but you said it's right next to 12 Avalon?
Can't miss it, John.
Yeah,
Okay.
next house down, yeah.
Okay, thank you. No, I'll make code enforcement aware, and they may already be aware, and they may already have issued violation notices or summonses, but that particular property, I don't know.
Okay, I also have issues with the flooding, but there's other people here that are going to handle that. Thank you. for your time.
Thank you, sir. Michelle Hawkins?
I just have a picture to pass around that my neighbor took. Michelle Hawkins, I'm 700 Beach Place in Ocean Gate, but I have a house at 2 Avalon Avenue. I believe part of the drainage problem, first of all, there's 3 roads in Berkeley Township that run their stormwater into Ocean Gate, onto Narragansett. There's Avalon, Seabright, Longport, and Oceanport. If you have an engineer go, you can see that the pitch goes right into Narragansett. Years ago, there was a stormwater shutoff valve put on the end of Narragansett. Apparently, it was some kind of experimental valve that was done in Seaside Park. I don't know. I heard it only lasted 5 years. But the water that's coming up on Longport, I believe someone needs to check that valve. If the tide water comes up, the valve is obviously supposed to close so that the water cannot come up in the store on Longport Avenue. Now, my issue on Avalon and Seabright is that with the loss of permeable land, and there's no beach left, and for years I've been calling, I know my neighbor Judy's been calling, about blocking off those dunes. I've asked multiple times over here for Christmas trees, sand replenishment. I was willing to go out and donate time to put plugs, and nothing. The water is flowing in waves down the street in front of my house. And especially with the ice. You can hear the cars go by and the ice crunching from the house. It's just not, I know the water table's rising. I mean, that's a given. But I don't know. I don't know what can be done, but I've called the engineer. The engineer has reassured me that the water is not running from Berkeley into Narragansett, when in fact it is. And it's obvious. So it's just, something that needs to, some kind of, I don't know what the solution is.
Okay, Ernie, got an update on that?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. The budget for the capital budget for 2021 includes I believe on the order of $80,000 to study the conditions in that area and come up with recommendations to the board. Understanding that there are certain intersections that are located in Ocean Gate that aren't in Berkeley Township that may require sort of interagency work between between Berkeley Township and Ocean Gate to ameliorate some of the conditions that are out there. Drainage problems are sometimes like tax returns. If you give them to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different results. This may require more than one look at it. There are certain things you can't control. You can't control the Toms River coming in. That's obvious. It's been obvious for a number of years. To the extent that stormwater runs towards that area and negatively impacts the low points of Seabright Avenue, perhaps we can put in additional drainage to catch that water before it gets to the low spot that currently floods. As it relates to intersections, they need to be as-built. Someone's got to get into the storm drains, look at them again, go through the records, verify if they have tide flex valves, the flapper valves, if they're working. And I can tell you that in the 2021 capital budget, there was significant money put aside to study that area and come up with recommendations and solutions for the governing body's review.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Peters.
Through the chair again, Angelo.
Sure, Councilman Burns.
Okay, this may help some other people that want to get up, but, I was out there the last couple of days. Ernie was out there Monday, and Alan was out today. But some of the houses, like this particular one, the road is dry, but the whole house property was underwater. Now, there was another house a little further down that actually had a sump pump in their backyard pumping the water out onto the road, and then it was coming back. It was just like a circle, just coming around and coming around. This area here, you could see where Public Works, the administrator told me that Steve Styler went out and he cut a swale in here to get this water to go out. And if you can look at the picture, I'll pass it around, and I'm sure everybody's seen it in person. The sand from the beach is actually, you can see where the water waved onto the road and brought the sand from the beach into the road. So if the swale was doing anything, it was bringing water back in. So, I know some bulkheading along here may work, but, today we were discussing maybe raising the road with curbs. But there's probably about a half a dozen of these houses that haven't been raised that I don't know what the answer is going to be for these people if we start to raise the road. And the only remedy that I can see, I don't need $80,000, is to raise the damn road and put some bulkhead in there. But on the other hand, you can't drown your neighbors. There's 3 houses that are going up there now, and they're ready to pour the slabs under the houses. And I was there today. I said, you might want to raise them up a little bit. I know my house, I wish I would have raised it up a little bit the way the water's coming. So, to answer your questions, I'm around every day. I'll give you my phone number. Now that it's getting a little warmer, I'll go out there, and any suggestions you have. Bill McGrath is with the chairman of the Waterways. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but some people say, why don't you dredge the bay and the water will go down? That doesn't work.
How about closing off the storm sewers and pumping the water?
Sorry, you just have to wait for your time to come up to the microphone.
Okay, you'll
Just
have to
can't
come
talk.
up,
Thank you.
but, and the flapper valves, I wouldn't buy stock in them, because there's that neutral flow where the valve doesn't know whether to open or close. I know on my street, if it wasn't for the flappers, if it wasn't for the catch basins, there wouldn't be any water on the road. The bay's coming right in. But, I guess everybody else wants to be heard, but, I'm with you. I live on the water, and, my cards are rotten to hell.
Sorry, you
I
just have to wait.
come up
You have to
now.
wait to come to the microphone. I'm
I'm
sorry.
the only one that can interrupt. All right.
And the mayor. Thank you. Next, we have Tordike. If you could just state your full name and your address, sir, please.
My name is Joseph Turek. I live at 208 Narragansett Avenue, Ocean Gate, New Jersey. So I supplied that photo of Narragansett and Longport. So it's in your possession, so.
Excuse me, sir, hold on. If you guys are on the phone, can you please mute yourself?
I'm sorry?
Sure, just wait 1 second. We just want to make sure everybody that's on the phone, they mute themselves so we
okay.
can hear you clearly. We're good. All right. Good, sir.
I'm good?
Yeah, you should be good now.
So I have to tell my name again, or?
No, you're good.
Okay. I live in 208 Narragansett Avenue. I supplied that photo of Narragansett and Longport. It's constant flooding. Of course, I know it's close to the Toms River. But they did renovations like maybe 7 or 8 years ago with a flooding, like a bivalve thing. So there is a catch basin at the beach. They never clean it. So I don't know if it's county or whatever. So maybe they can, do some maintenance there. They were there like, I guess, I'm sorry, like 2 months ago doing some catch basins. There's a lot of sand that blows up from the beach. You're new, chief? Oh. I live in Ocean Gate, so that's good. Yeah. My uncle was a police officer in Elizabeth. Big town. But the flooding is significant. I don't know if they can raise the road, but maybe they should check the catch basin, at the end of the beach. I've never seen them do that. There's a catch basin there with you get into it, that's all. Pick it up and that's it, clean it out. We're really close to the water, so that's it. But if they can raise the road, I doubt it. But FEMA's coming in, right? With their new regulations. So my house is 12 years old. I raised it, it's like 6 feet above water. And at that time, Ocean Gate had a zoning thing that I can only do 2.5 levels. So I left it at what the level was. So it's 6 foot above water, or 7 foot. But the fact is, they need really just to maintain, the sewer. It's full of sand. If you live there, right? You don't live by the beach, it blows. The water blows across the Toms River. So there's a lot of sand, a lot of activity. So it fills up the storm. That's it. Whatever. I doubt if anything's going to happen, but we'll see. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, something's going to happen. We're gonna look into it. Rich Reich, did I say that right? Ryan, yes, Ryan, I'm sorry. You got it. Name and address, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Rich Ryan, 912 Main Street, Bayville, New Jersey. First, I'd just like to give a compliment to Jimmy Byrne and the administrator for hearing my concerns today and for the last couple of weeks, basically on the park, the Main Street proposed park upgrade, and for the raise lift that happened on Main Street. Two things. One is my first concern is the road lift. And Jimmy, I just heard you this earlier in the meeting.
You're in the fourth house from the end?
Yeah. It's basically, as the road flows towards the bay, the lift that they did basically stopped the flow. And now you have from the second house in at 928, it goes back west. Yeah, so it's worse than that. That's a good day. Yeah, well, if you go there when it rains.
Well, that's going to be remedied with the park.
That's perfect. So I appreciate that, and I also appreciate the time that the town is spending on the citizens for making these parks and so forth. But I was following up on it, and I know that the park itself is they're still trying to get the CAFR permit moving, and so the thing is why is it taking so long? Because
I'm
know-
sorry, because it's DEP. And I mean, in all honesty, it can be a slow process to begin with. And COVID, they were not fully staffed. A lot of them were working remotely. A lot of them are still working remotely. So there's been a significant time delay in regards to their review.
Right, I've read the, if you go on a DEP, they have a digital bulletin board. You can go in, you can read CAFR reports, for anyone, and basically, the last one was in November, and here we are almost in March, and it still hasn't been remedied. As this morning, I reached out to the DEP, and they sent me an email saying basically is that hasn't been remedied. So for that to happen, is engineering company needs to make these adjustments. And this is not like 3 months, though. This, Jimmy, if you're, am I right, about 2 years? That's a long
Through
time.
the chair, Angelo, the first problem was it was designed as a powerboat ramp with parking of trailers.
Right.
And that was a more stringent application. We changed that because the intention was never to have a powerboat ramp there. Because you have CNC has a ramp, Trixie's has a ramp, Whitey's. We're not going to compete with ramps in the town. So that ramp there is going to be for like a kayak or a small sailboat or something. So there's no power boats allowed within, I don't know, 150 feet or so of that. So that changed the process. So we reapplied for that. And now there's also the application into put some of the dredge material into that hole there. And on top of that, I think Jim Orvis had told me, but the Chandler family owns those couple of lots that are west of the beach.
Right.
And I'm trying to see if they would donate them to us so we could widen that a little bit and put some of the parking down there. And if the last meeting, I don't know if you saw, we're trying to put better lighting up there and more cameras on the ends of the streets, to keep the riffraff from going down there. But you're right. It's a long process.
So you have style parking for trailers for the park as the most current proposed plan that I gotten today from the DEP that they sent me.
Right. So that'll just be parking and maybe a little kayak trailer or something, but no power boats. There's just no room for it, and the kids will be playing in the ramp anyhow. You don't want it.
But there's about 40% of that park is dedicated to just parking for trailer and a boat, whereas 60% is for the kids. Right now it's a passive park. You have people that are I would say on an easy Saturday come spring, you have probably about 100 people that walk there. I don't see that in any other parks except for that one. They walk there. They've been walking there since they were kids when it was Holly Park.
Right.
It's part of their nostalgia, or it's just a beautiful park to walk to. There's no cars on that road. The way it sits, to spend the money for what we're looking at is great to get the wall in. It's great to have a kayak thing and so forth. But as for all this parking that you just mentioned, now they want to go additional parking, what would that all be for?
Well, I have to look at the revised plan, but I don't think the trailer parking is back in there the way it was initially. Was it, Jim? I have to look at it, but there was a lot of trailer parking. So we're just trying to keep that natural and then just limited cars.
But there was just a discussion where you said that now the donation of this certain family to create additional parking, what would that be for?
Well, actually, it would just be for us to preserve that land.
All right, and that would be nice.
And widen that shoulder.
Widen the shoulder, okay. And then the other concern that I had is if you get money from Green Acres, this is Green Acre Fund money?
It's grant money. I don't know if it's Green Acres. I don't know if it
Is it Green Acres?
I believe that the project will see a Green Acres grant and other Green Acres funding for the project.
And that allocates basically anybody from the state of New Jersey can use that park?
Green Acres requirements are that, you have to have the project open for public consumption. You can have rules so that the park can be open from dawn to dusk. You can control how the park is operated, but you can't restrict who uses the park.
That's correct.
It can't be a Bayville-only park.
That's correct.
And just so you're aware, I live in Berkeley too. It's a great town. And
Yeah.
I live over on Amherst Drive, and we have a beach, and I know what you're talking about. It's a ritual. People walk down the street
Yeah.
to the beach, and you know, quite honestly, there are a few people that drive their cars down too, because that's a bathing beach. But I think what we're trying to create at this location is a good waterfront access for the local neighbors, but also for, you know, the people in Bayville, and we will have to allow others outside of town to use it. So we have to accommodate and have a place for people to go, just like at Butler, at the end of Butler, there's a playground and a parking lot. You have to have a certain amount of parking.
I
to
understand.
accommodate it. So, but we're not trying to create a megatropolis of parking.
No, I think the plan, as it states now, that was submitted based on the funding that you're going to get from CAFRA, from Green Acres and the state and so forth. My other question is, they can park there, anybody can park there. And you're going to create all this parking for people, which is, believe me, it's great, I want that. But as for the street, can it be decaled for the public to know that this is for, Berkeley Township? So if you're from Pennsylvania, or you're from, I don't know, Cape May, or whatever it may be, wherever you're
I think
coming
there's
from.
some kind of public access to the water rules.
It's public access. But as for parking, I don't know if that covers it.
Maybe parking with a decal, I don't know, Chief.
Through the chair, if I may, I think what you're trying to say is, can you restrict parking on the street to be for residents only?
Yes.
We can look into that. I don't know if that would, that would be something the council would need to consider.
Yes. Because, if you have White Sands Beach, you have signs there. How'd that work?
We can do that.
So what I'd like to do is I spoke with Beverly today, and I missed the docket time frame and so forth. Is that something I could put on the docket that we could talk for next month to see how parking ordinance for township residents decaled, similar to White Sands Beach?
You actually just did, you're on the record, so.
So the way that would work is, the engineer's office and my office would review and determine whether or not this is something we can do. If it is something that can be done, then it'll be presented to the legislative council for them ultimately to decide whether or not they feel that an ordinance should be presented to the full council. So by you coming up here and speaking about this and requesting it, it's triggered us to start reviewing everything to then present something back to the appropriate committee.
Could we use I don't know if was it 27th, 28th, 29th Street, that ordinance and how that was written as a model for Main Street?
Yeah, we could certainly look at that.
That seems to be the best way, is always to look at something that's already been passed as an ordinance and then extend it.
We'll take a look.
That would be fantastic.
One more thing, Angelo.
Sure.
And the design of this road, you can see that the water pitches to this, where the parking is.
Yeah.
So that's like 2 feet deep of stone. So instead of this catch basin over here that was put in temporarily, to get the water out, where the water comes back in, all the water is going to go off onto the shoulder and then go through the stone to the bay.
Well,
So you won't have that flapper valve problem here anymore.
Right, it just doesn't work, and I agree with you. I wouldn't have stock in that company either.
No.
Sorry, I hate to cut you off. We're just up to the 10-minute time limit. You
Okay.
could come back up after everybody else speaks,
That's
if you
perfect.
like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Up next is Donna Amon. Did I say that right? Yep. 1 out of 5 ain't bad. I got 1 right tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Can you just state your name and address, please, ma'am?
Donna Amon, 33 Longport Avenue in Bayville. And I'm concerned about the corner of Narragansett and Longport. All the people that live in here, in that area, that's the only way out. If you're in Ocean Gate, you can take this road or that road. That's it. It's just I bought our house in 1977, and it used to be October October was like the hurricane season, and it would flood after October once or twice and, sporadic. Now, the last time it flooded was 4 days. 4 days. Meanwhile, I got a vaccine appointment in Morristown, couldn't get my car out. So, if you're food shopping, I'm a cooker. I come home with 8 bags of groceries, can't get to my house. I did raise my house. It's a beautiful house. What is that, if you were going to sell your house? I know all the people that live in there, our taxes are not cheap. I'm on the water, but in total, for everybody, what their taxes are. In future, if the road isn't fixed, those homes are going to be worth less. You can't get there. It's a beautiful location, but when I go to work, I have to park my car three blocks out. Walk at 5 o'clock in the morning to my car, and when I come home, the cones are up. That's all you guys do, but the cones. So don't go there, whatever. It's just, it's not just me. It's the people here, and in the back of my, I sent you all have pictures of what it is, and it's almost constant. It's not rainwater, it's salt water. You don't want to bring not everybody has a truck. I don't have a truck. What is that doing to the under part of my car? And all our cars, whatever. So, I hope you really do look into it, whether you raise the road or whatever, but take a drive, next time if, like, you think it might be flooding, to our area and see. It's a lot of people are selling right now in there because they probably can't get to their homes. That's it. I have other people want to speak.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Burns, can you meet me out there this weekend so I can take a look at it?
Yeah, and, I'll give the residents my number, they can call me, but if you call Town Hall, Beverly gets me the message right away, but I can meet you and Ernie, but you'll be amazed when you go out there.
Ernie, you're good this weekend at any time?
And it's the lower houses that are really going to suffer no matter what we do. That's the problem.
All right, so we're going to find a time as Councilman Burns and Mr. Peters and I will come out there this weekend and take a look in person, exactly what's going on. If that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in this room that's not on this list that would like to come to speak? Okay, if you could just one at a time come up, it'd be great to state your name and your address, please.
I'm going to go to a house where the young lady cooks.
Yeah. How you doing, sir?
Hi, my name is Nick Kubicek. I live at 655 East Longport Avenue in Ocean Gate. I'm on Longport and Narragansett. This affects me the most of anybody here. Whenever that road floods, it's right on my corner. I've lived there since 1992. They talk about all kinds of ways to fix this problem. Put flapper valves, clean the sewers out. The problem is the water coming in off of the bay, okay? You can put a flapper valve in, and you got somebody has to maintain that all the time. It's usually county or somebody. They don't come out until you call. 6 months later, they might come out and clean it out. The beach is a dike. It's basically a dike. The sewer line is the hole in the dike. The storm sewers have to be closed off. You have to put in a pump system and pump the water over the top of the beach. It's the only way to stop this problem. You talk about you raise the roads, all it does is push the water off onto the adjacent properties. You got to get somebody out there that knows how to do water management, things like that. It's not going to work just by raising roads or putting a flapper valve in. I've been there for 30 years. I've seen this. I've tried to work with people and talk to people about it, and it's not going to work. You got to push the water over the top of the beach. Either that, or you have to reroute the sewer lines, the storm lines, over through some of the side properties into the lagoons off of. I'm trying to think of the roads, Bayview Avenue, or things like that. You got to cut the river off. That's all there is to it. You know, that's the only way to do this. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Sir, if I could just get your number after the meeting, I'd like to
I'm sorry?
stop. If I could just get your number after the meeting, I could call you this weekend. I'd like to stop by and
My
see.
number?
Yeah, your house number, your cell phone number.
Oh,
So I
okay.
could stop by maybe this weekend when we're out there, Mr. Burns.
That'd be
We could
great.
take a look, okay?
I would love to
Great.
talk to you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody next out there? Mr. McGrath? Mr. Conte, just wait. We're still working on people in the room.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bill McGrath, 339 Bayview Avenue, Chairman of the Waterways Advisory Commission. Our commission is currently taking inventory of areas around the waterfront areas, just like what they've been explaining here on Narragansett and Longport. We're inventorying them. We're getting the elevations of the roadways, and we're comparing them with the newly installed tide gauge that the USC&G installed between the AT&T building and the Water's Edge restaurant. There's two of them, one on each side of Bayview Avenue, that give real-time water level readouts every 6 minutes, and we're comparing those water levels with the road elevations. The one that's being discussed now, Longport and Narragansett, we looked at that ourselves, a number of us from the commission, and I'm very aware of it. The last gentleman explained it perfectly. He lives there. Just so everybody knows, where he's talking about, that's not part of Berkeley Township. That's part of the borough of Ocean Gate. The actual borough line is approximately 100 feet plus or minus east of the easterly side of Narragansett. The backyards of all of the properties that front on Narragansett, that's the boundary line. So that all of the catch basins, the piping, all of that down on the intersection is all belongs to the borough of Ocean Gate. But the problem extends into Berkeley Township further to the east along Longport. The way the gentleman explained it is correct. There's a dune that runs along the river beach, and that dune blocks the water from getting into the street area. At one time, our public works, in our portion of that we own, they cut through the dune to let the rainwater out, which that caused a problem to let the tide in. So it's a very fine balance between the tide level and the water from the rain. There's a balance there, and we've in previous issues like that, we've used the tide flex valves. They don't they work well in some areas, in some areas they don't work well. We had an issue of where we had to remove them over there by North Bay Drive, because what happens is it does a good job of keeping the tide from coming in when the tide is high, but when it rains, there's not enough head pressure to push the rainwater in the puddles out fast enough, where normally without the tide flex valves, it would drain, say, a puddle within, say, 24 hours. With the tide flex valves, it takes maybe 48 to 72 hours. So it's a real critical balance, and I think Ernie said it right. He should. It's not a case just throwing money at it and fixing it. It has to be studied, and I think Ernie has the correct idea that this is because it's not an easy fix. That particular location, it's critical, and excuse me, it has to be studied. There's no easy answer for that particular location. So that's why it has to be studied.
Is there anybody else in the room that would like to come up? Two more. State your name, sir, and your address, please.
Sure, John DiStefano, 37 Longport Avenue. And I appreciate that you guys want to come out and take a look at it. I'm afraid, though, if you just go on a nice day, you won't get a full impact of what's going on. If you could wait for a large window.
I'd like to see it both times, you know what I
Okay,
mean?
that'd be
Just-
great.
it's a-
But it's tidal. It's more than just due to rainfall. So if we have a wind event where the winds, northeasterlies, or after a couple of days, you can just see the water just percolates out of the catch basins, and they're full of sand, debris, pine needles, and the water, it's probably, as Bill said, part of that valve, but the mud kind of traps the water or keeps it from going back down. So anyway, it's more than just an inconvenience. It's a safety hazard. In the wintertime, when it was freezing, it's like an ice skating rink at that corner. It's horrible. So
Yeah, I could just see from the pictures how horrible it is. So
Yeah, it is.
And I think a good view of before and after would be helpful to us, too.
Absolutely. Also, please notice when you're there, the crown on the streets it's uneven. That's really the only way out is to stay on that, in the middle of the road where it's at its highest. But you can see I don't know if it's the roads that are settling, but the crown isn't even. It's high in some points near the sewer cap, and then lower all around it. It's just, anyway, I hope you guys can figure out something quick, because it's just more than just an inconvenience.
You got it.
All right, thank you.
You got there. Thank you. Sir?
My name is Julio Perez, 37 Avalon Avenue. And just to bring, some light to what's going on Narragansett, I got a picture of Narragansett, Bayview, and Seabright before coming over here. So you can see that the flooding is happening right now. It's there. It doesn't go anywhere. That ditch that they carved there, I've called the mayor on that, and he had him cover it back up because it was just bringing in too much water when the tide goes up. I have a handicapped daughter. My sister-in-law, she's also handicapped. Few times that she had to go somewhere. Maybe the ambulance won't come through there because the water's too high. My grandkids, they stay with me. They live across the street on the Ocean Gate side. And when they stay with me and they have to go to school, they have to brave through that water or cut through other people's yards to get to where the bus stop is on Narragansett or East Lakewood Avenue in Narragansett. So I just wanted to add that. And if you'd like to see the picture of the situation, you can pass it down. This is today.
Do you want to see the phone, or?
Yeah, this is the same picture, I think, at 2 o'clock today.
Okay, this is on the way over here. I took the picture before. It's flooded now, and Seabright seems to flood more so.
The mayor.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Hey, Jules, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can you text me that picture?
Absolutely. Okay, I'll do that right now. Okay. Yeah. I've had very good communications with the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is there anybody else in the room that would like to come up to speak? Is there anybody on the phone that would like to? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Should we have now or the phone person first? You can come up now, sir. Go ahead. You just got to read.
It's Rich Ryan, 912 Main Street, Bayville, New Jersey. The fire hydrant at the end of Main Street, I pointed that out to the engineering firm that the town hired.
Half covered with stone?
Yeah, it's beyond the barrier. The fire department, it's going to cause them delay of getting into it if they're even going to go to it. So if you're putting in a park, you're going to have a car fire possibility. You have flooding down there, which you could have kids possibly could slip, drown, I don't know. But there just needs to be another dotted I, crossed T on that section for safety reasons. And then I'm glad you're here. The other thing too was I guess it's not state forest, but it's a private preserve, Clam Creek Preserve. There's hunting that goes on there during duck season, and the way it works, and this is I got through the state. The way it works is they can hunt from boats, but they cannot hunt on that land. So if there's a duck hunter on that land, he's breaking the law, and that's it. So when I've called.
I can't even recall any calls we've ever had there for complaints about it.
I've called a couple of times,
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
and I'm referred. But what it is
Heard that in 20 years I've been here.
yeah.
To be honest with you, I've never heard anybody call about that. But
No, I have. It's I'm being referred by the police department, which is the proper thing, is to go to the DEP so that they can get their officers out there. But it's hard to get them out here in time to get the hunter who's on the property. But the law is, and I'd be more than happy to send it to you to show you, is basically is that there's no hunting on that.
is there occurring at a certain time? Like,
Hunt
time
season.
over and over? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, basically, one of the things is which this town is very privileged to have, is there's an abundance amount of wildlife on those preserves, on the Clam Creek Preserve, and basically, there's American bald eagles there all through the winter. And you can go there pretty much almost any day and you'll see them. In the summertime, you have at least 6 pairs of ospreys. You have fox, you have owls, you have, I mean, just an enormous amount. But you also have the ducks too. But the thing is the eagles that come during the winter for their flyover they're scared away by the hunters, and they're not legally allowed to hunt there.
I mean, obviously, if they're there, obviously, we'll follow up on it. I never, like I said, I know people duck hunt, but I never heard any complaints on it.
Yeah, because, well, basically is, if you live on that drive, or if you live on the other side of the bay, most of the people around the water, I guess you said you're down in that area, you can hear the gunshots. Can you hear them? Yeah, so basically is they're hunting. I mean, visually, through my eyes, I could see them, they're allowed 300 feet from your house to fire.
Oh, yeah, I know that they duck hunt, I just
Yeah.
never, I'm saying I never knew there was anything doing, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't know that they weren't allowed to. I was told that they were allowed to. But the law defines it from a boat, but not from the shore of that park area. Yeah, no, I'll send it to you, and I'll send you the state representatives who sent me that information. I'll forward it off to you on that way. So thank you for the extra time about the hydrant and the firearm shooting on property that's illegal.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice night.
Okay.
Is there anyone on the phone that would like to speak?
Yes, Brooke Conti.
Address, sir?
Yeah. Mr. Burns?
Sir, can you speak? Can you state your address, sir?
Excuse me?
Hey, Chuck, can you hear you?
Just need to state your address on the record, Ambrose.
I'm sorry, sir. Ambrose Conti, 87 Charles Street, Bayville, New Jersey.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Yeah, have you been over at the property there, the Dyer's property?
Yes.
Nothing's happening, still the same.
Kenny Anderson's been over there a few times and has put summonses out to them. And one of the problems is that the court is done remotely, and people actually don't show up to court, and you really can't chase them down with the code violations. So Kenny's been over there.
This has been going on for years. I mean, it's the same thing all the time. I mean, nothing happens.
You're talking about the gentleman with the 4 businesses on the corner, right?
Exactly, right. I mean, so I just went to one, I left, go shut up, and nothing happens. I mean,
Something's wrong.
And I did talk with, what's his name's widow there around the corner. And, yes, they're going to, they're talking about consolidating those lots. And I told them they could only do the access from the driveway and not on the street.
Yeah, then we better, I guess you were asking for a survey. Okay, they're aware of that building being built there, right?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding you. Are you around in the morning? I'll swing by.
Well, there's a street that's all messed up there. It's not just a matter of them consolidating the lots. They gotta fix that street. They destroyed the street. They dumped down so deep that it holds water. The driveway that they put in, it holds water. And it's gotta be correct. That street's gotta be a street there. They built that building. It was an unapproved lot, and they should have put the street.
John, are you around tomorrow?
I feel that the street should be there.
You around tomorrow? Can we meet him at 10? Are you available, Ambrose, at 10 o'clock tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
I'll meet you at the street with Kenny Anderson and the administrator if he can make it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair, one other item, while people were talking, I was going through the phone. There's actually 6 houses around Avalon and Longview that have to be remedied by October of this year. I think they were noticed, and that's a FEMA regulation, and Ernie could add, but we don't know what the penalties are going to be on them or anything, but by October of 21, they have to be remedied. But the way FEMA works, I'm sure there's going to be extensions. And I know misery loves company, but the end of every street has had water up to at least 10 houses. The end of Evergreen, they have a foot or two of water that they have the same problem. The people can't get out. And if you notice, MJ's, some days, you can't get parking. I don't know where we're headed. I think Mr. McGrath would probably know better than I do, but the water's coming up, and it's higher than it's ever been. It used to be, remember in 92, remember in this one. Now it's like you remember last week. So I don't know the answer. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak? Yes, sir. Name and address, please, sir.
Nicholas Solomon, 36 Avalon Avenue.
Okay, sir, you go ahead.
I have that piece of property over 40 years. I've been through all the floodings. I've never left my house during any of the hurricanes, including 2012. And I can tell you that first problem, positively definitely is, they came in, they put road storage drains in our roads that we never had, and they put them too deep. So as, even during 2012, I had no water on my property, but the road had 2.5 feet and waves flying down it like you never seen. Everything there that has been put in is way too deep. I've been in the boat business 43 years, and it's quite obvious what's happening. The water is coming in because of the drainage being too low.
Sorry. Do you have any knowledge of that?
My first 17 years of being there, we had no road drains whatsoever. And I went through hurricanes, went through everything, no water. Then they came in, they put the storage in, and like I said,
You're saying it's too
2012
deep.
is a prime example. My property was bone dry, but the road had over 2.5 foot of water flying through it because it all came up through the storm drains.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
that are too deep.
Without doing the study, you
Right.
can't really comment. Mr. McGrath got up and said, if the storm drains back up with tidal water, that occurs 50 times a year. If we take all the storm drains out and we let the rain fall out of the sky and it puddles at the low point in the road, we're going to have concerns with those people from flooding them because there's no storm drains. So as Bill said, it's an intricate balance. If I take all the storm drains out, the person who lives at the bottom of the road is going to get flooded when it rains, period. It's going to get flooded when it rains, whether the tide's in or the tide's out. And the town has a fiduciary responsibility to make both conditions safe. The variable that's changed over the years is the tide's higher and more frequent. So that's not a developer's problem, it's not a town's problem, it's not a resident's problem. It's what the situation is. Tides are higher. So to that end, there have been, in different points in time, different solutions put forward. They've included tides flex valves. They've included shallower sewers or deeper sewers. One of the residents, and I apologize, it might have been the gentleman at the intersection at 655 Narragansett, is to maybe try to cut the water off before it gets there and send it someplace else. But you can't have, respectfully, I can't have a solution for one resident. It's got to be a solution for the area.
Sure.
Otherwise, I have to get, if I'm going to put more water on your property, I need your permission to do that. So we have to look at it in a totality.
So we need to
Of
study.
all of the area and see what it is that we can accomplish without negatively impacting, again, without someone's permission, another individual's property. And we're hopeful to get that work started this year when the budget's adopted, and work with all the residents to say, this will take care of this problem. I don't want it to be a water balloon where you push down one place and it pops up someplace else. So at some point, quite frankly, through the Public Works Department, I think we tried to do it without spending a lot of money or doing a lot of things. But taking all the storm drains out and putting a pump system in isn't free either. So again, we'll try to find the best solution that takes care of the most of the problems, especially the safety issues of being able to access people's property during tidal events, and/or heavy rains, so that people can get in and out of their neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Sorry, anything else, sir?
Just a quick possibility. Why couldn't we, at the end of Narragansett, right where it matches up to the bay, just put a big pit with a centrifugal pump to a manifold system, just like you guys did along Bayview Avenue in Seaside Park?
Please understand that the town didn't do it, the federal government did it. And again, respectfully.
But it does work.
Well, I'm not sure how good it works, but it wasn't free. So when we look at all of the alternatives, there's a cost benefits analysis. If I got to spend $10 million to make something happen, it might be cheaper to do something else that's less cost prohibitive. And that's the balancing act we've tried to offer to the town. The Public Works version of opening the ditch, closing the ditch, simply hasn't worked because the tide keeps getting higher. I don't think anyone here is going to disagree with that. I can't fix the tide. I don't think anyone in the room can fix the tide. So what do we do to balance the variables that we have out there? And the town's put forward funds so that we can get a study done. We'll obviously have to work with Ocean Gate and investigate all of the inlets and outlets that negatively impact this intersection.
Through the chair again. On the pump system over at, on the island there, that was to drain Route 35 into the bay.
Right.
Okay, the state put that in. That pipe leaks, and it's taking all the soapy water or whatever is there and dumping it into the bay. So if you notice, it won't rain for a week, and that pump is still pumping dirty water into the bay. So that system that they did there, and they never connected ours into that system. But you're absolutely right. If the grade is
They
here,
wouldn't let us tie our system into it.
they wouldn't. So if the grade's here and the bay's up here and this is draining into the bay, which way is it going to go?
If you go right across from Ocean Gate Yacht Basin's lift well, they put the pipe going out into the lagoon right there, okay? That pipe is the pipe that gave me 2.5 feet of water in the road during Sandy. It was a direct hit, direct line right through.
But you're absolutely right. You need to hold the water back from coming in.
The water-
The only thing that works is swales higher and it goes in. But when the bay comes up, you know, we'll give it a lot of attention like, you know, we're giving it everything else. And I think I'm going to move to Holiday City.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McGrath?
Yes, I don't want to take up everybody's time, but just one quick note, what's going on here is this, and I've noted this over the years. There's two phenomenon that's going on here. One is you have sea level rise, okay, which is occurring. It's real. We measure it. And we have what's called subsidence, okay? The ground is sinking. Well, why is the ground sinking? It's sinking here. The reason is because when they put in city sewers, now when you flush the toilet, it doesn't go into a septic tank anymore, which recharges the water in the ground. It gets pumped out into the ocean. So as you get more and more people moving into an area, you have people, they use approximately, Jim, you know this, about 100 gallons per person per day. Is that?
75 gallons per person per day.
75, between your shower, your water use, whatever. 75 to 100 gallons per person per day. So when someone moves into an area, you're drawing that water out of the ground, flushing it down the sewers, pumped out into the ocean. What happens? The ground sinks. Now, I never really believed it until I got my GPS surveying equipment. Now we measure it by satellite. When I went around and checked all the monumentation that was put in the 1930s, it was running 3 inches or so lower than what was recorded back then. And I had no explanation for it until I went into it. And now with normal surveying equipment, you can't tell, because if the markers are sinking evenly together, there's no way to tell. Now with the satellites, we measure it, the ground is sinking. So you have two phenomena that's occurring: the ground sinking and sea level rising, which compounds the issue. And it's a fact. I mean, it's going to, in another 50 years, the water levels are going to be a foot higher. And we have to somehow deal with it. So we have a few people come in and complaining about Narragansett and just think about 50 years from now, what you're going to have complaining. It's a real issue that you could blame on Mother Nature, but that's what it is. That's the issue.
Thank you, Mr. McGrath. Anybody else? We're good? Sure, sir.
As much as it's utility water, it's water that comes into the environment that goes onto the ground. And if you keep putting asphalt down, it just gets drained out and it doesn't get replenished. So that's like with the Rutgers Environmental Commission, they suggest rain gardens. So you need to keep the water surface within the area that it falls. By removing it, the ground level does sink. And you're gonna have a much lower playing field, and therefore you're not gonna have any way of keeping the water out anymore, because it's just gonna fill up more. And in the pictures that you took today, if you look at, I think it's Howard, I'm not sure what his last name is, he's at 914. He's got another lot that never had water on it until they raised the road at the end of the street. His complete lot, about 100 feet by 200, is nothing but water now. You can go by there now and there's water there. And the ground is sinking because of the water tables. But also, there's no place for the water to go. So I can't say enough how I would hope that if I could meet with the administrator, I think you offered to meet with me, John, that we, and James or anybody else, but I'd be more than happy to help out and give any suggestions or just help. But the town should also start thinking not just of the correction or fixing, duct taping it, basically, kind of like what I'm hearing tonight, is think about more about the future. Get the Rutgers program in here. Get FEMA in here. Get them in now. Be proactive rather than them paying to get the remedies of something that's been broken. Get them in here before it's broken. And allocate the money. Get the money. It's yours. Don't wait for it before everybody else starts grabbing it. Get it. That's all I can say.
Thank you, sir. May I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting? Motion. Second. All in favor? Number 8, what's that?
Whereas we are about to discuss matters which deal with one or more of the statutory exceptions under the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, which allows the exclusion of the public during said discussions, and whereas the matters to be discussed relate to personnel, contractual, and pending litigation, whereas this may be discussed to the public at a time when necessity for confidentiality no longer exists or within 6 months or less from the date hereof. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey as follows. 1, that the Township Council shall retire into executive session where the public shall be excluded and where said matters shall be discussed and formal action may be taken with regard thereto. 2, that the minutes of this executive session shall be closed from public inspection and shall so remain until the reason for confidentiality ceases to exist or upon formal action by the Township Council at an official meeting within 6 months or less. 3, that at the termination of said executive session, the meeting would be adjourned. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 21-103 regarding closed session?
Appreciate your time, guys.
Okay, motion, somebody?
Yeah.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
No, I have to get it.
All right.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Councilman Burns?
Councilman Burns.
Keep going. Keep going.
He's in the back over there.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bushio?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Affirmative.
Council President Godano?
Yes.
Yes.
No, he apologized. He was gonna run. He knows that there might be action taken, but he'll come to the next meeting and thank everyone.
That's great. Fred was here. I talked to him when we went in caucus. I told him he did not have to stay. But he said, I'd like to stay and thank everybody, but then he told Jim Morris that he had to leave, but he'll come back to the next meeting and thank everybody.
Ready?
John, you want me to stay? I thought so too, but,
You heard that?
That's right. Okay. I don't think, the only thing was the ordinance for,
Stormwater?
alright.
Good evening. This is the official meeting of February 23rd, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the applicable portions of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been given. This meeting is posted on the bulletin board located in the corridor of this building and published in the newspapers on January 13th, 2021.
Roll call. I'm sorry.
Councilman Bacchione?
Here.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Councilman Burns?
Here.
Councilman Signorelli?
I'm here.
Councilman Bushio? Here. Councilman Gross?
He had to go, I think.
Council President Godano?
Here. Number 3, approval of the minutes for January 4th, 2021. Motion to approve? Second? Roll call?
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bushio? Council President Godano?
Yes. Number 4, approval of the monthly reports as listed. Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second it.
Roll call?
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bushio? Council President Godano?
Yes. Number 5, resolution 21-104-R regarding bills and payroll as listed. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second it.
Roll call?
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bushio?
Yes.
Council President Godano?
Yes. Number 6, public hearing on, what was that? Public hearing on ordinance 21-04- OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 35 of the revised general ordinances of Berkeley Township entitled Land Development to reflect corrections resulting from recent ordinance amendments. This meeting is now open for comment on the ordinance. Seeing there's nobody here, may I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt?
Motion to close and adopt.
Second? Jim Burns. Roll call?
Who's second?
Second, I think it was Jim, right?
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes. Deep breath for this one. Number 7, introduction to ordinance 21-05-OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of Block 45, Lot 1257, Block 568, Lot 1, Block 572, Lot 38, Block 572, Lot 32, Block 568, Lot 17, Block 571, Lot 26, Block 572, Lot 44, Block 562, Lot 1, Block 572, Lot 26, Block 568, Lot 45, Block 568, Lot 24, Block 568, Lot 11, Block 571, Lot 20, Block 572, Lot 1, Block 572, Lot 8, Block 572, Lot 14, Block 572, Lot 20, Block 573, Lot 1, Block 573, Lot 10, and Block 573, Lot 18 from Ocean Inc. and in accordance with NJSA 40A:12-5A1. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
A second? Roll call.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yeah.
Councilman Buccio? Council President Guadagno?
Yes. Number 8, introduction to ordinance 21-06-08 regarding ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey to provide for and determine the rate of compensation for certain employee titles and establishing the method of such compensation, recreation hourly employees. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
A second? Roll call?
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes. Number 9, introduction to ordinance 21-07-OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code so as to amend Chapter 8 and Chapter 7 entitled Traffic Stop Intersection, Georgetown Drive and Lamenton Drive. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes. Number 10, introduction to ordinance 21-08-OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing a lease agreement with Berkeley Township Historical Society, Inc. for the property located at 759 U.S. Highway number 9. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes. Number 11, introduction to ordinance 21-09-OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code so as to amend the various sections of Chapter 35 related to stormwater control. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yeah.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes. 11A, introduction to ordinance 21-10-OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code so as to amend Chapter 7 entitled Traffic No Left Turn. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno?
Yes. Number 12, Resolution 21-105-R regarding the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve item numbers 1 through 26, resolution numbers 106 to 131?
I move the motion.
Need a second? Roll call.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno.
Yes.
And we have 3 add-on items that are going to be voted on separately. The first is Resolution 21-132R, appointing conflict attorney. We have a motion.
I need a motion to approve. Second? Anybody second?
Do I have a
Second,
a second on that?
I made the motion. I don't know.
We need a second.
I need
You
some.
made the motion?
I can't make the second.
I'll second it.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes, maybe that's it.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yeah.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno.
Yes.
Resolution 21-133R, appointing members to the Municipal Utilities Authority.
Get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio? Council President Guadagno.
Yes.
And item, it's Resolution 21-134R, appointing title companies for the Township of Berkeley.
Need a motion to approve?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Guadagno.
Yes.
And through the chair, if we could, there were actually 2 more, and we might have discussed afterwards. One, if you want to keep, obviously they'd be consecutive, you could read it, or I could say what it is. We need a resolution to authorize receipt of bids for capital projects engineer,
So moved.
So
RFPs.
that'd be Resolution 135R, 21-135R. Did everybody get that?
Authorizing RFP for capital projects engineers, right?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli?
Yep.
Councilman Buccio? Council President Guadagno.
Yes.
And just one more, if you'll indulge, that I'll have to read, it would be Resolution 21-136R. That would be authorizing the mayor and clerk to sign any documents with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Signorelli? Councilman Buccio? Council President Guadagno.
Yes.
John, do you need one for the carbon monoxide detector, so that just goes through?
No.
You can just do that. Okay.
Get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.